You invited me here. You arranged the tea, and it started with a teacup, small, simple, ceramic, the kind offered to guests in meetings, the kind that carries respect in silence. But this one almost carried death. President Ibrahim Traoré was in a private meeting at a military base outside Ouagadougou. Nothing big, just a quiet gathering of senior officers and advisors to discuss logistics for an upcoming operation in the east. Calm, casual, nothing unusual. They sat in a circle under a mango tree. Cups of warm, spiced tea were passed around by a soldier in plain uniform. Traoré took the cup, as always, with a smile. He nodded in thanks, but then he paused. He didn't sip, not yet. His eyes flicked toward the server. A new face, young, nervous. He held the cup in both hands, gently, like it was glass. Across the circle, Colonel Konate, an old officer known for his sharp mind and cold eyes, took his first sip quickly, almost too eagerly. He looked at the president and said, "Please, drink, sir. The tea is fresh." But Traoré didn't move. He smiled. Then slowly, he placed the cup down on the small wooden table beside him. The air around them shifted, slightly. Not enough for a normal person to notice. But Captain Zongo, sitting in the back like always, saw the signal. Traoré had trained with wolves. He knew how betrayal smelled. 2 hours earlier, inside the palace, Traoré had received an anonymous tip, a small note left on his desk while he was in a meeting. "Watch your tea. Today, they will test your trust." No name, no clue, just that one warning. He didn't ignore it. Instead, he played along. He stuck to the schedule, traveled to the base, sat among men he had known for years, and waited for someone to show their hand. And now, as the untouched cup sat between them, something was very, very wrong. Traoré looked straight at Colonel Konate and said, "You know, I always find it interesting. How many things can hide inside something as small as a cup?" Konate gave a tight smile. "That's the beauty of tea, sir." "Or the danger," Traoré replied. Then he stood up slowly, and the tone of the entire meeting changed. President Ibrahim Traoré stood tall, his hands behind his back, eyes steady on Colonel Konate. Everyone else at the meeting froze. The air turned thick. The birds nearby had gone silent, as if they, too, were waiting for what came next. Traoré didn't raise his voice. He didn't pull rank. He just asked a question, quiet but sharp like a blade. "Colonel, do you trust the people who poured this tea?" Colonel Konate blinked. His lips tightened. "Of course, Mr. President." "Good," Traoré said. He turned to one of the aides and pointed to the untouched cup. "Then please, drink mine." The aide reached for the cup, confused. Konate's eyes widened. "No, wait," he said quickly. "We don't want to mix cups. There could be hygiene." Traoré raised his hand. "Hygiene, Colonel, or poison?" The circle of officers went silent. You could hear the wind brushing against the trees. Konate tried to recover. "Mr. President, I assure you no one here would—" But Traoré was already walking away from the table. He pulled out a small walkie-talkie and spoke 2 words, "Bring him." Within seconds, 2 soldiers came forward, escorting the young tea server, the nervous soldier in plain uniform, his hands tied behind his back. He looked terrified. His mouth was shaking. One of the president's bodyguards placed a small pouch on the table. Inside it, a tiny plastic vial found hidden in the server's sock. The label on it read in tiny writing, VXT42, a slow-acting neurotoxin, enough to kill a man within minutes, colorless, tasteless, odorless. And now, sitting inside a teacup meant for the lion of Burkina Faso. The president turned to the circle of officers. "I've led soldiers into real battles," he said calmly, "and I've buried brothers in war. But this, betrayal from inside our own house, is worse than any enemy." Then he looked at Konate again. You invited me here. You arranged the tea, and it started